Good morrow, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Lara, and today it's story time. As I said in my intro, today I'm going to be telling some stories, true stories in fact, and there's 3 of them. 3 totally separate stories that basically revolve around the same thing. What thing is that? Dating. I think I'll start off with the earliest and then lead into the newest. So first, I call this my date with Batman. That's right, I said Batman. There was this... how do I describe this guy? He was not buff, not your typical Batman-y type. He was actually very much the opposite of those things. On a daily basis, he wore those shoes that have little toes in them, so they look like toe socks, but for your feet to wear like hiking and stuff, so you have like a monkey grip. And he swore by them, and he wore them all the time. He also had glasses. He was about the same height as me, so short for a guy, and really skinny. And I kind of liked him. Batman was actually a nickname that he gave himself. His little Jeep had a bat symbol on the back of it, and he said that everyone called him that, but I never met any of his friends to know if that was the truth or not. But I have a little feeling that it wasn't. So since he was a friend, we went out to the mountains and hiked and went to the waterfalls and just had a good time. And then we went to go see a movie. This was about the time that the movie Hop came out, which was that cute little spring movie with the bunny, and it was like live action and animated, and it was really cool. I was really anxious to see it because it was a bunny, and it looked so funny and so cute. So he was like, sure, we'll go see the bunny movie, and it had Russell Brand in it, so he thought it was going to be really hilarious too. And it was. But I didn't find that out that night. I actually didn't take my ID because I didn't think I'd need it for a child's movie. And actually, the theater that we ended up going to required a ID because it was curfew. So they couldn't prove that I was over 18, and I wasn't allowed into the movie to watch Hop. Another thing that I did on this date to kind of mess it up was he had a Jeep, and the Jeep had this like handlebar, and so me, being Lara, when we went around a curb, I grabbed hold of the handlebar and I went whee and got no response from him. So when I realized that Mr. Batman didn't really like my own sense of humor. Bruce, noises! So after that, he actually did want to go on another date with me, and we went to actually see this movie this time, and it was a great movie, really enjoyed it, had a fun time with him. After we got home from actually seeing the movie, he got all sweet and was like, do you think maybe we could start dating? And I was like, well, I thought we were dating. And he's like, no, I mean like as a couple, like exclusive dating. I was like, well, give me some time and let's actually go on a couple more dates first, and then I'll answer. And then December rolls around, and I say, what are you doing for the holidays? And his response is, I'm spending it with my girlfriend. I was like, oh, I okay. Spend it with your girlfriend then. That's okay. And that was the last I ever heard of him. So that was my date with Batman. Okay, so the next story isn't really a date story. It's more of a texting story. I was out playing Pokemon Go, and I get this random text from, let's call him Peter.
It's funny you should say that, because I was looking through some old photos and it looks very, similar.
And precious little Peter Parker was someone that I went to school with. He was actually a few years younger than me. And we spent some time together. We hung out. So Peter has texted me. And in little Peter Parker's little message, he says, "Hey babe, I'm home alone. And I'm gonna cook some steaks on the grill. You want me to throw one on for you and you come over?" I kind of looked at the message and reread it a few times because just the approach was odd. Because I hadn't heard from him in a long time, and then all of a sudden he's home alone and he wants to fix me some steak. I think I said I was busy or something, and he was like, "Oh, come on, babe, I miss you." And I didn't respond to that one. I didn't respond to the "I miss you" because, like I said, I was out playing Pokemon. So I don't respond immediately to him saying that he missed me again. And then I get another response that has a picture attached. So I open it. I'm like, what kind of picture could he be sending me? Is he sending me a picture of the dead cow that he's going to cook and I am supposed to be impressed by it? So I open it up. I'm expecting either picture of dead cow or some sort of awful picture of him. Instead, I got a picture of boobs. It was an oddly angled picture of some woman laying on her side in a black tank top covered in, it looked like fake fur had rubbed off on her, but I guess it was like dog hair or something. And she was laying on this weird brown couch. And it was not me. And the message attached to this picture was, "I miss these." I just kind of laughed. Because they weren't mine. I've never sent him pictures like that before. And I was honestly surprised to see some girl's boobs show up on my text messages. I instantly reply, "Those aren't mine." That didn't end it though. No, no, no. Peter Parker does not give up. And the next message he sends me is, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe. They were so big, I thought they were yours." Like that's gonna make me feel any better? "Oh, okay, I'll come over and eat your steak because you thought those were my boobs you sent me a picture of." No! No! That's not how things work, Peter. So I didn't respond. I didn't respond to that. There was no response for that. And he continued for like the next 5 minutes or so, trying to convince me that it was perfectly okay that he sent pictures of some other girl's boobs and said he missed them, wanting me to come over and eat some steak. So after he exhausted himself texting me, he must have moved on to whoever he was actually meaning to text. And I've never heard from him again. That seems to be the ending to all of these stories. Now, we've come to my final story. This one I call My Date with Clark Kent, and it's actually what inspired me to tell these stories to start with. I know I might sound mean, but I called him Clark Kent because he just seemed so normal. He just looked so farm boy, I guess is the term. He was a nice build, my height, so a short guy, but he had a very normal face, handsome face, but normal face, and he was just very cookie cutter Clark Kent. He decided he wanted to take me on a date. This was about the time that Thor Ragnarok came out, and I was super excited to see that because I absolutely adore Thor. So I was like, okay, sure. I was a little iffy about it. I was like, this guy's really not my type of guy. I usually go for the tall, skinny, pale, looks like he's dead kind of guy. But maybe Farm Boy will have some surprises. So I show up. It's kind of rainy. So I look around. We finally make eye contact. And he walks up to me. And he says, "You're Lisa, right?" I didn't correct him. I just, "Yeah, I'm Lara." And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And just kind of like half hugged me. And then we walked up to the ticket counter. And I'm a Southern girl from North Carolina. And I was raised Southern. And I was raised that if a gentleman asks you to the movie, he's going to pay for your way into that movie. But this guy steps up, orders his ticket, and then steps to the side. I kind of pause, because I'm thrown back by it. And I'm like, okay, well, it is modern day, and it makes sense, and movies are expensive, so I kind of get it. I get it. I do. I understand. So, strike two, but not really. So I pay for my own ticket, and we wait around for a little bit. I guess he was waiting to see if I was going to buy some concession stuff or not, but finally we head to the theater. We didn't argue about where to sit, which I was okay with. Like, I went to the middle, right in front of the railing, which is my favorite spot, and he didn't protest. He didn't say, like, "Oh, this isn't the middle," or anything like my best friend does. And no, I'm not complaining. I think it's adorable. So I was like, okay, maybe he's just flustered and this is how he acts, and it'll be fine. He'll just warm up to me. So once I sit down and we start to chat, I realize this isn't really the best setting to get to know someone in. So take note, if you're ever going to go on a first date, even if you kind of know the person, don't take them to a movie first, because you don't have the chance to, like, communicate. And we got there a little late, or at least we got into the theater a little late, so it wasn't long before the preview started. But he was asking me things about my cosplay, and about my social media accounts, and, like, my follower count, and stuff like that. Like, just weird things that he wanted to know about. And it kind of made me question it. I was like, he said he cosplayed too. And he showed me a picture of him dressed like Mario for Halloween. Mario Odyssey with the cap on his head. And he said that he liked my cosplays. I was like, oh, that's cool. And he wanted to see some of my cosplays, so I pulled out some pictures. So the previews start, and Clark continues to talk. And I know he wants to get to know me, and I kind of want to still talk to him, but you don't talk during the previews. And then the movie starts. Right off the bat, things are weird. The opening battle scene? This guy beside of me starts punching at the air when Thor punches, and making grunting noises, and just getting real into the movie, to the point where I'm just like, not really knowing what to do. So I just kind of sink down in my chair and enjoy the movie, and try not to pay attention to the boxing match going on beside of me. And it wasn't just the first fight. It was every fight. Every single fight, he became part of the action. Punching at the air, and grunting, and making fighting noises, and I'm just like... So, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Thor was amazing, and I've watched it since then, and without the boxing to the side of me. And honestly, I gotta say I enjoyed it a little more when I watched it that way. I know people have their quirks. I have my quirks. I have lots of quirks. I'm quirky. it was a confusing encounter, and I had no warning, so it was odd. So when the movie ends, we sit there through the credits because, you know, at the end of Marvel movies, they have those little snippets at the end of the credits. So during the music score, we have time to talk some more. And the subject goes right back to cosplay. And we chat for a little longer. And he talks about how there's a local coffee shop and he'd like to, hang out there. And oh, good. He's picked up on the fact that we didn't really get to communicate because it was a movie. He realizes this was a mistake, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I've been to that coffee shop before. It'd be really cool to hang out. But on the inside, I'm kind of like, I don't know yet. But after we saw the little snippet at the end, we got up and he walked me outside. By this point, it's pitch dark outside. It's almost midnight. And we're in a busy city area with lots of people leaving the theater, and I'm paranoid as heck because I'm a southern girl. Going back to that again. And Mama always says if you're left alone, somebody's gonna kidnap you. So I'm like, okay, I'm with someone. I have an escort. I'm gonna be just fine. Until he stops. He stops at the edge of the sidewalk in front of the theater and kind of awkwardly goes to hug me, which I wasn't too upset about because I'm a hugger, and it was a nice hug. It was a very nice hug. And then he said, well, Lisa, I had a really nice time, and I hope we get to hang out again soon. I said, yeah, me too. I just parked right over here. So at this point, I'm fishing. I'm fishing for a way for him to escort me to my car and make sure I safely get into the vehicle and there's no serial killer waiting for me in the back seat or in my trunk or something or under my car, and no one slashed my tires, and it's all perfectly fine. I parked under a tree, so I used the tree as a point of reference, saying I parked right there, I'm just a few feet away if you would like to escort me there. And he continues to kind of shuffle around and goes, I really did enjoy the movie. The movie was really good. And I'm like, yeah, the movie was great. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm just parked over there. And he's like, okay, Lisa, I'll see you later. Okay, Lisa, I'll see you later. And then he darts off. He goes to his car in the opposite direction. I'm parked here, and he goes over here to his parking space and gets in his car and just leaves me standing there. So once I got to my car, I checked in and I left. And that was the end of that date. We didn't go out to eat. We just movie and done. But he had a great time, and I had a time. So that was my date with Clark Kent. So there you have it. 3 very different stories about 3 very different guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye.